for the players at Barker Playhouse, bartender for hire, and semi-professional cat wrangler with exquisite taste in men. In her spare time, she moonlights as a loyal daughter, board game night hostess, and generally charming company. Her resume and references are available upon request. Samantha Gauss.
Okay, so I'm really going to talk about looking for jobs right now, but you're going to get a little bit into my personal life when I talk about this. I'm hoping you can all learn from my experiences while looking for jobs. It's been kind of a painful process for me. I do freelance write, but during the day that doesn't give me much to do because all my stand-up comedy's at night. So during the day, these are some of my activities. I've gotten really good at them. I feel that it's important, though, during the day to take this free time to think about what I really want to do with my life. So I try to think about what I'm qualified for, or jobs that I would really, really want to have, right? And I made this list, and I figured that I can take this list and throw it away because none of these are jobs that are really ever going to pay me or be available to me. But this is what I really want to do with my life, if given that opportunity. So for those of you looking for jobs, here's a list of things not to look for jobs for. Okay? None of these things worked. I tried every one of them. And the truth comes down to if you know somebody who's looking to hire. And if you don't get a job. Sometimes you even do know somebody and you don't get a job. So you have to get creative sometimes with how you're looking for jobs. Sort of like if you're looking for a house and you read the obituaries.
Uh-oh.
Also on my resume, I am qualified to be a sausage biscuit, even though I'm Jewish. It is on my resume, so anybody who works at Subway or Bojangles, I am looking. Interviewing is sort of the most painful part of the process because you have to pretend to be all of the best things that you're probably not. You kind of have to sell yourself. But I've gotten really, really good at interviewing, so whenever I leave an interview, I always think that I completely nailed it. I call everyone that I know, and I'm like, yep, definitely got this job. They loved me. My brain is just overflowing with joy. I think that I got it. And this is my big mistake, see? You should not humiliate yourself by telling people that you probably got the job. I went through this recently when I applied for a job that was my second recent dream job, which I now call pretty much every job interview that I get. But I came up with the 5 things to do on the day that you don't get your dream job. And number 1 is multitasking. And this is the most important thing. You've got to stay busy, get as many things done as possible. So I multitasked the whole entire day that I got rejected. Okay? And there's some examples of that. I did crying while doing laundry. I cried while applying for other jobs, which is proactive. So don't judge me, okay? And my cat Pooter was still kind of willing to play with me. Sort of. I had to force him at the end there. But I was multitasking, no less. Talking to someone. I really liked talking to all of my friends because it really taught me how many cliches they have in their back pocket. Not one person said anything to me that I hadn't heard already on an episode of Full House. But what that really taught me was that I kind of hate all of you. So I shouldn't be working with people anyway. My job as a stand-up comedian is far more appropriate, although doesn't pay much. Also, Schadenfreude, for those of you that don't know, I'm German. A bunch of my Facebook friends who are also unemployed probably reaped so much joy that day by finding out that I also didn't get hired. My therapist enlightened me, though. He told me that I was not actually at all upset about not getting hired for that job. Turns out I was actually upset about every rejection I had ever faced and all of the failures of my upbringing. So that was encouraging because I got to learn that I was not actually upset about not getting the job. I went to the gym, burning off steam. This is important. And this worked for me on several levels because the creepy guy in my apartment building who keeps trying to ask me out was there that day. So not only did I scare him off, I was burning calories. That's problem solving, okay? None of you did that on the day that you had a bad day. I also think that it's important to seek comfort in the things that you love. right? Reality television being the most important here because those people humiliate themselves on national television. I only did it with like the 30 people that I called telling them I got the job. I also made a rule that day that I could eat as many fruit snacks as I wanted until midnight, which at about 11:50, I tried to take full advantage of, and this picture was taken at about 11:59. So don't overindulge. If one of the things that you really love is alcohol, this is less of a good plan. Number 5 on the final thing is to just take it one day at a time and look to a better tomorrow, because if you're still crying about it tomorrow, you're a fucking baby and nobody's going to hire you. True. So recently I interviewed at a company called Underbrella. Some of you may know them also as Sexy Period. And I think I'm really qualified for this job because this is something I have done every single day. If you are wondering what I am talking about and why I'm so qualified for this job, I am about to show you. Because I have done this every day, probably for the past, I don't know, 24 out of the 26 years of my life. I have experience. I did some math, people, and I've probably put on underpants more than any other activity in my life. Because sometimes I even change my underpants twice a day. So working for a company that sells underpants kind of seems perfect for me. I told them this in the interview, and if they don't hire me, I'm going to assume that it is because somebody went down on them in the interview. And I love it. And I think it's important to do something that you love if you can't do something that's going to support your food and home. So if you guys thought that I was at all funny tonight, or even if you just want to be my new stalker, you can read my blog, or you can see me again tomorrow. I'll be performing at Twin River doing a stand-up comedy show at Pecha Kucha at 7:30 p.m. Also, if anyone is looking to hire me, you now have some of my credentials.
That's fantastic.